What's good, SinzNation? It's your boy Sinz here, and today's video is gonna be a little different. So, like, comment, subscribe, drink your water, respect your women. So, gameplay in the background's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Don't worry about all that. Today we're gonna be talking about Avengers Endgame. Now, it's gonna be my thoughts on Avengers Endgame, where it ranks throughout the Marvel movies, my theories and predictions for future movies, and currently my stance on Marvel films. So Avengers Endgame is about a 3-hour long movie, and before I go on, there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't continue watching this video, and if you still continue watching this video and get spoiled, I warned you. So, Avengers Endgame. It starts off very, let's say, interesting. Not interesting, wrong word. Intriguing. You have Tony and Nebula, they're in their spaceship. You think they're going to die, and then, boom, the most cliche thing happens. You think Tony's going to die, and what many people were predicting happened as Captain Marvel saves Tony. Now, a lot of people didn't like Captain Marvel in this movie, yet I don't know why. A lot of people say she's too arrogant, this and that, but you have to remember that's how she is in the comics, which is the reason why there's a Civil War too. There's too many people, I believe, they come into these movies not knowing their history of Marvel comics and how Marvel comics are portrayed, and they give a negative outlook on these characters that the MCU brings to life. Captain Marvel's an arrogant person. She is a strong person. That's why when she came out the gates talking her junk, wanting the smoke with Thanos, she wanted the smoke with Thanos. That's how she is. We'll get back to the ending part of her later on in the video. People were like, at first, people they don't like Captain Marvel. They didn't like her movie. They thought it was too feminist and empowerment. But if you compare Wonder Woman to Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, in my opinion, was more of a feminist movie than Captain Marvel. But that's not the point. Get back to Avengers Endgame. My rating Avengers Endgame is the top 5 Marvel movie. I still, after watching it 3 times, I still think it's better than Infinity War. They're both great movies. It's just Infinity War, to me, wasn't an Avengers movie. It was a Thanos movie. It was good that Infinity War was good because it brought all the single movies together, such as, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. I brought them all together with the current Avengers, which was nice, but it still felt like a Thanos movie to me, even though it wasn't an origin story. Thanos had the most screen time. And, people in that movie did get their shine, but it still was lackluster in some parts. Was there more action in Infinity War? Yes. But when it comes to storytelling, Endgame did storytelling better. But you have Endgame, you get your time skip, which is already predicted because of the casting of Ant-Man's daughter. So we already knew there was going to be a time skip. And that's another thing. People need to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp was a Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp were vital movies to Endgame. People like to crap on Ant-Man like Ant-Man don't be wanting to smoke. Paul Rudd's a great Ant-Man. Stop hating. So, excuse me. You have Ant-Man, he's talking about the quantum realm. We meet Bruce Banner because Tony Stark, obviously. That's another thing. Alright, so everyone's saying, rest in peace, Iron Man, rest in peace, Iron Man. If you really think of it, the only reason Tony helped wasn't because of the other people, wasn't really because of humanity. He only helped because he felt as he failed Peter Parker. He really only did it for Peter. He didn't do it for anybody else. He didn't care. So, But Tony Stark's still a great person. And also, all y'all hopping on the Tony Stark bandwagon, y'all didn't see in Iron Man 3. You can't say Tony wasn't annoying in Civil War. You can't say Tony wasn't annoying in Age of Ultron. Iron Man was just now becoming a good character in Infinity War. But anywho, so where was that at? Yeah, so they meet the Hulk, and let's talk about how they did my boy dirty. The Hulk, first of all, this man Thanos beat the anger out of the Hulk. He solved Bruce Banner's problems just by beating his ass. But the MCU has downplayed the Hulk so much since the first Avengers. They have downplayed this man. Infinity War, he got bodied by Thanos. I mean, yeah, that's valid. He's going to get bodied by Thanos. But even in the comics, Thanos said one of the most people he fears is the Hulk. The Hulk has invulnerability. He has super strength. He has intellect as Bruce Banner. But here's the main thing. Do a little time skip real quick. Not really a time skip, but skip forward. So when Hulk wields the gauntlet and he messes up his whole arm, right? By the time everyone comes back from the portals, right? I don't care if it was a minute, I don't care if 2 minutes, I don't care if 3-4 minutes went by. By that time, the Hulk's arm should have been back. The Hulk, people don't know, has health factor regeneration, which is said to rival Wolverine's regeneration. So even by the end of the movie, the Hulk's arm should have been back. In that fight, the Hulk's arm should have been back. The Hulk should have done what he needed to do. But no, they downplay the Hulk so much. For what? There's no point. But yeah, you get Thor. Thor's characters. Here's another thing about Thor. Alright, listen to this. So in Infinity War, Thor, right, gets Stormbreaker, and he's able to critically wound Thanos, who has the gauntlet with all 6 stones. And he's able to critically wound Thanos. Right? So I don't care if Thor is fat now. He's still a god of thunder. He's still strong. He still has Stormbreaker, the Thanos killer, right? Thanos, who doesn't even have the Infinity Gauntlet, is out here putting the pause to Thor when Thor easily went through the power of the gauntlet in Infinity War with Stormbreaker and critically wounded him. But now he doesn't have that same power level output against a Thanos without the gauntlet. Him being fat doesn't mean anything. That doesn't take away his godly stature. So that power scaling was awful. That was, if you really look at it, that power scaling was bad. Let's skip a little talk about Black Widow, Hawkeye. There's a reason why nobody really cares. Like, people care about Black Widow's death, but there's a main reason why nobody really cares about Black Widow's death. Me personally, like, I felt something for it, but not because of Black Widow, because I like Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow's character in the MCU really hasn't done anything. When Scarlett Johansson made her appearance as Natasha Romanoff in Iron Man 2, she wasn't even Natasha Romanoff. She was going under a different name. She was going under a different alias as a spy when she met Tony Stark in Iron Man 2. She was there in Iron Man 2, and then in the Avengers, she really didn't do anything. And she did have her moment in the Avengers in the beginning scenes when she was tied up in the chair, and then boom, she goes to get Bruce Banner. That was cool. She didn't really do anything in Avengers Age of Ultron. She had her little stunt with Bruce Banner. And in Infinity War, she didn't really do anything either. She had a little fight with Proxima Midnight, but that's it. Okay, ooh. But she has not really done anything in the MCU, which, like, you don't really feel anything for her death. And I say you even feel more for Hawkeye if he died, just because for the fact he has a family. But Hawkeye really hasn't done anything either. I mean, Scarlett Johansson has made more appearances in Marvel movies than Hawkeye. But he's still... I would have felt more for him just because of his family. But that's my thing on Black Widow. She hasn't really done anything in MCU, so like I'm not really mad that she's not in the MCU anymore. I love Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow's a cool character, but impact wise, she hasn't done anything. Also, Nebula's annoying. She could have easily, I'm gonna talk about that. But let's get to the end. There's not that much that goes on that's impactful, other than they get the stones, this and that. Let's go to the last fight scene. So Thanos comes, sitting down, wanting to smoke, and he's putting the pause to Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, which is stupid. He's putting the pause to them. Hulk should have been in that fight. I don't care. Hulk should have been in that fight. So he's putting the pause to them, and I predicted Cap wielding Mjolnir. Right after Infinity War, I said Cap's gonna wield Mjolnir. It's kind of cool how the Russo brothers and every director and writer say, "Oh yeah, Cap could have been wielded the hammer. He just did it out of respect for Thor." That's cool, because I didn't really care for the theory of, oh, he wasn't worthy because he knew that Bucky Barnes killed Tony Stark's parents. That's stupid, in my opinion. I don't like that theory. I think it's funnier about the ego part. So you have that. You have the cool fight scene between Captain America putting the pause with Thanos, which is cool because actually in the Infinity War comics, Captain America did stand toe-to-toe with Thanos, which was, get paid a little homage to that. In the comics, Captain America didn't wield the hammer. He could have. I mean, a lot of people could have back in Infinity War, because in the Infinity War comic, Thor wasn't just Thor. He was Don Blake, I believe. Yeah, he was Don Blake, and he had a cane, and if he didn't have his hammer for 30 seconds, he would go back to human form. But a lot of you guys didn't know that. So, but Steve, on your left, great homage to Captain America 2, but just that intro scene was amazing. Them all coming, Star-Lord, even though they should all just stop beating Thanos' ass, looked at Star-Lord and beat his ass for a moment, because you could have stopped all this. Iron Man could still be alive, but no, Star-Lord wants to be a little pansy. Wong comes, even though Wong didn't do anything. Wong comes, they all come. Howard the Duck's there. He's by the side of Wasp. If you didn't notice him, go watch the movie again to notice it. So when they all come out, you get chills. All 3 times when I saw that movie, even the second and third, when I knew it was going to happen, I got chills. Because it's such a great movie moment. It's like movie magic right there. You have Pepper in the armor, and just so many things you wouldn't have noticed. I really don't like how the MCU has made Drax a comedic character, when in the comics, Drax a boss. He's a beast. Doctor Strange did his thing, holding back a whole flood. You see the sadness in his eyes, because he knew Tony had to die, even though Tony really didn't have to die. But you have the moment that some people love, that some people hate, which is the girl moment. When Captain Marvel comes back, and you have that little moment. Oh, hey, Peter Parker, I'm Carol Danvers. You have something for me? She gets the gauntlet, and then Peter's like, "Oh, how are you gonna do all that by yourself?" And then I think it was who said it? It was either Scarlet Witch or Gamora. I don't remember who said, "Oh, she has help," and it was all the girls, right? That moment was good, but looking back at it, it does seem kind of forced, in the sense of that moment goes for a split second, and half the girls in that moment didn't do anything. Mantis didn't do anything. Pepper didn't do anything. Like, Gamora got like 2 kills. Valkyrie took down one of the flying things. I don't know what to call them. Valkyrie took down one of those. Captain Marvel sent off some beams, but that was it. It didn't really show anything. It wasn't that impactful. It was still a forced moment. So then, Thanos finally gets the gauntlet again, and then boom, Captain Marvel comes. This is, okay, now I'm going to say, because people were like, oh, why wasn't Captain Marvel in the whole movie? Why was she just in the beginning and the end? First of all, it is already explained that there's other universes that need her help. She's the only one that could really fly in outer space without a spaceship. So there are other universes that need her help. Obviously, either someone sent a message or she could just feel the, I guess you could say, energy levels of things happening on Earth. So yeah, then she's gonna come down and help. But there was no point of her being in the entire movie at all. Her coming in the beginning, going to throw the work to Thanos was great, and her coming in the end, having her little moment was great. There was no need for her to be in that entire movie. She's the strongest in the MCU right now, other than Doctor Strange, Thor, and Scarlet Witch. People just like to hate on Captain Marvel. But then she goes against Thanos the second time, right? If Thanos already had the gauntlet in his hands, right? And all 6 stones are in the gauntlet. First of all, Thanos should have been able to overpower Captain Marvel, and it was pointless for him to take the Power Stone out of the gauntlet, put in his base hand to punch her after he headbutted her. Because just because she's holding your fingers of the gauntlet, you can still use an energy blast with the gauntlet. Like, they made Thanos in the MCU still weaker than he is in the comics. Because in the comics, this man Thanos was a beast. Infinity War, beast. This man turned Thor into ice. He had more characters in the Infinity War comics. So Cyclops from the X-Men is there. He put a box over Cyclops' head so he couldn't use his optical beams, and he suffocated to death. He sent Drax and the Hulk to prehistoric times, and they had to fight off dinosaurs. He turned Wolverine's adamantium bones into rubber, so Wolverine couldn't do anything. What did he do to Iron Man? I don't remember what he did to Iron Man. He basically disintegrated Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch did have a nice moment in there. They're downplaying Scarlet Witch a lot in the MCU too. But Thanos is a beast in the comics. He took on more than the Avengers team they had in the movie. He took on Silver Surfer. He took on Galactus, who everyone wants in Phase 4. He took on Galactus, the Living Tribunal. Thanos was a beast in the Infinity War comic. In the movie, he's a beast too, but the MCU really weakens almost every character they have. But yeah, that moment was still like, okay. It just gave it more like, okay, we give a Captain Marvel moment in there, which is cool, I guess. But she should have done more, and Thanos should have done more with the gauntlet in his hands. I don't know why it took him so long to be like, oh, let me snap my fingers, but it's just a movie. You have Tony Stark's moment where he goes and he takes all the stones off and puts it on the nano gauntlet. That's what they're calling it now, the nano gauntlet, and then he snaps his fingers. Here's my thing. Iron Man didn't have to die. Honestly, no character needed to die. And no Avengers needed to die in that movie. But since it was the close off of the Infinity Saga, I guess you're going to have your deaths, because you needed your death of... I guess you get your death of 2 and then your send-off of Captain America. But I personally don't think Iron Man should have died. But I cried all 3 times. You get over to the funeral. And the funeral, you see a lot of interesting characters. You have Nick Fury in there. You have the kid from Iron Man 3. I forget his name all the time. Who could be Iron Lad in the future. You have his daughter Morgan. I love cheeseburgers too. You have a lot of great characters. Then we get to the end where Captain America decides he's going to go and turn all the stones back. And he comes back and he's old, and then they change that ending up because in the comics Bucky gets the shield first, and he becomes the new Captain America first. And then it goes to Sam Wilson. But since they already introduced Bucky as the White Wolf for Black Panther, even though Black Panther, the White Wolf, really is T'Challa's adopted brother, but they changed that up. So since he's going to be the White Wolf, I guess you're going to skip over Bucky being Captain America and give it to Sam. I like it because it's in the comics. A lot of people aren't going to like it because people are going to say, oh, they're forcing diversity, this and that. But once again, it's in the comics. So now we get to talk about time travel. Just know there's multiple timelines. You have the main timeline which is also the stones weren't destroyed. It's impossible to destroy the Infinity Stones. Like, they're destroyed, but they're not. They were reduced to subatomic particles, and it would have took too long to see where those subatomic particles are to try to revert them back to their state. But the Infinity Stones can't be destroyed. They can be misplaced, but they can't be destroyed. So you have the main timeline. You have a 2014 timeline where Thanos and the Black Order and Nebula. We don't know about Gamora yet until Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but you have that where they're dead. So that's a whole new timeline. So there's a timeline where Infinity War doesn't happen. So there is a timeline where Iron Man is still alive. Give you guys that. You have another timeline because Loki messed up the timeline by taking the Tesseract. So he took the Tesseract, and we don't know where he's at until the Loki TV show comes out. And then you have another timeline, which is the timeline Captain America made. So when Captain America stayed, he stayed in a whole new timeline. Stayed till he was old with Peggy Carter, and then he went back to the main timeline at the end of Endgame to give Sam Wilson the shield. That's why the shield is in perfect condition, because he got that shield in his own timeline. So in that new timeline that he stayed in, there's two Captain Americas. But also, I feel as less things happened in the sense of I'm pretty sure he obviously would have told S.H.I.E.L.D. that Hydra infiltrated, so you don't have the events of Winter Soldier. I'm pretty sure since he already knows Bucky is alive, he can stop Bucky from killing Tony's parents, so you don't have Civil War. And so we have a lot of stuff going on in that timeline that we don't know about. It's also confirmed that if anybody's watched Agent Carter, Peggy Carter had 2 kids. It's confirmed that Captain America is the father of those kids, and he always was the father of those kids. Not the rumor theory that she had a different husband that Captain America saved. Nope, it was Cap. And you have that. So you have Far From Homecoming. So I'm going to give my predictions for that. You have Mysterio. We all know that in the comics, Mysterio's a bad guy. He's going to be the one in the movie controlling the Elementals. Chameleon's going to make an appearance. I feel like Chameleon's going to be making an appearance. He's going to be Nick Fury. Like, Nick Fury's going to be there, but when you see another version of Nick Fury, he's going to be Chameleon. And then as a mid-credit scene, I said mid or end credit scene, you're going to see Chameleon and Mysterio talking, and even in the back, then you're going to see Light, and it's going to be Vulture, Shocker, and Scorpion. Then you're going to have Mysterio, Chameleon, and there's going to be another person talking, saying, oh, Spider-Man's all bested you, this and that. Well, that's why we're all here today. We're going to make this syndicate. And you're going to see the old Stark Industries building. Since Tony Stark is dead, that building's obviously sold. So the old Stark Industries building, and I believe you're going to see it say Oscorp, and they're going to bring in Norman Osborn. He's going to be that 6th person of the Sinister Six. And then in Spider-Man 3, it's going to be a Sinister Six movie. And most likely, there's going to be AI of Iron Man, because in the comics, Spider-Man beat the Sinister Six with the help and guidance of Iron Man. So obviously, I believe Tony Stark is going to come back as a cameo appearance just as AI, because he's dead. Those are my predictions. As for Phase 4 villain, I don't think it's going to be Galactus. I think he'll come in Phase 5 and end off Phase 6. But I either say it's going to be Kang the Conqueror. Dormammu could come back since this time stone is broken. You can do the Collector. Well, the Collector's already in Thor, but you could do like it's the Collector and his brother. I forgot his brother's name. I don't want to look this up. I don't have time like that. Yeah, the Collector and his brother. They could do their little champion stuff, but I doubt that. I really think it's gonna be Kang the Conqueror since they messed up time. But and the Collector and the Grandmaster. But honestly, I'm still gonna watch the MCU because I read comics. I like my predictions. That's my prediction from Far From Home. I'll give more predictions when there's more trailers and movies coming out. But that's my thoughts on Endgame, my predictions for the future. And with that being said, Sinz out.